Why the border? Why illegal immigration? Why, look, let's just talk about some moves Joe Biden's pulling recently. Joe Biden is shielding illegals now from being deported. You know, he gave that speech where he pretended like he was being tough on the border now. There's been no more border enforcement. In fact, since that speech, he's bent over backwards to protect not only just regular illegals, which are already criminals, I need to point out, but convicted criminals, shielding them from deportation. They're taking crazy steps now, saying, hey, if you're an illegal and you skip across the border and marry a U.S. citizen, boom, you're good to go. You can't be deported. They are bending over backwards to ensure everyone they've brought here can stay here, and they're bending over backwards. They are going all in now to bring in as many as humanly possible. Now, why? Well, I'll tell you something. There's something that hits me a lot. You've probably picked up on this if you watch the show, which obviously you watch the show you're watching now, but there's something that hits me a lot. How truly, truly evil and depraved the people are who lead this country. They are evil. And you want to hear how evil these people are? They have power, okay? They have power. The presidency, it's a very, very powerful thing. They have power, and they want to hang on to that power. And they want to destroy the country in the process because they will burn, an evil man, what's that old quote? An evil man will burn down his own country to rule over the ashes. That's Democrats in this country and Republican leadership too. I need to point that out. Republicans love amnesty too. But right now, Joe Biden's looking at, I don't want to say of a loss in an election because it's way too early to say that, but the poll numbers are bad. It looks bad. It looks like there's a chance Joe Biden's going to be a 4-year president. The American people are sick over it. And part of the reason the American people are sick over Joe Biden's presidency is illegal immigration. So wrap your mind around that. The people are mad about illegal immigration, and that's going to result in Joe Biden being removed from office, losing his reelection. In response to that, the evil people who run this country are bringing in as many as they possibly can before they might lose the election. And the ones that are here, they're essentially building a wall around them to make sure they can't be deported. How evil is that? How evil is that? It is, and this is something that I've accepted and something I understand, something you and I have talked about before, but how do we deal with living in a country, sharing a country, remember we all live here, sharing a country with people who want to destroy it and are willing to do anything to keep power and destroy it? How do we handle that? Look, it's not just like this is a right-wing talking point. Around the planet, people know, these illegals know, hey, with Joe Biden there, we can do whatever we want to America.
We've been talking to migrants from all over the world arriving here into the San Diego sector. I talked to one man from Turkey. Here's what he had to say. What do you think of President Biden?
Biden, I love Biden.
Why do you love Biden?
Because Biden we love.
Why do you love him?
Biden help us.
That man was from Turkey. We've had hordes of military-age Chinese males. We've had how many people on the terrorist watch list that we know of being intentionally released into the country. By the grace of God, they've managed to track down a couple of them after the fact. But the people who run this country are so evil, they're hoovering up as much of the third world as humanly possible before they might lose the presidency. And people get confused as to why. Listen, Cloward-Piven, I would highly recommend you go look up Cloward-Piven. This is a phrase you've probably heard of before. They were a couple of communist professors, and they were trying to figure out, how do we destroy America? Honestly, that they wrote it down. How do we destroy this evil country that is America? And illegal immigration was a central part of their plan. The plan essentially is no matter how big and powerful a country is, you can overwhelm its systems and bring about its collapse. You understand that your rent, mortgage is sky high because of illegal immigration? Your healthcare costs are sky high in part because of illegal immigration. The education system in this country is rotting out from underneath us. We have high school graduates who can't read or write now because, in part, of illegal immigration. Illegals are destroying wages, destroying the job market. You can't import millions of people from nations who have no loyalty to yours and continue to have a country, and that's why Democrats do it. How evil is that? And there's nothing they won't do. The strategic oil reserve, you remember that? That's there for emergency purposes, as in WW3 cooks off. The Biden administration is once again draining the strategic oil reserve in an election year in order to keep gas prices low. Gas prices low. The people who lead the country are so inhumanly evil, they will put this country on dangerous ground without oil in order to keep power for themselves. You do understand that big, beautiful Navy we have, the Air Force we have, most of that goes right on the scrap heap without oil. You know what a plane without oil is worth? Nothing. In fact, a plane, a fighter jet without oil, it's worth less than your car. It'd be more militarily beneficial to strap a couple machine guns on your car and drive it at the enemy than have a plane that can't fly. We can have a military that is worth virtually nothing if we run out of oil. They know this, and they're draining it anyway. And you know what I do find funny? Not funny, horrific, but this whole Ukraine thing. We know, several reports have been out that now a couple times over the last year, Vladimir Putin has come out and tried to negotiate an end to this. And this is not a celebration of Putin. He invaded, but Putin has come to the table and said, hey, we can end this thing. Very clearly, Russia has seized some of Ukraine. They're not going to be able to get them out. And Putin has said, okay, we got it. Let's come to an agreement. Let's end this thing. And yet, it's funny, the powers that be who run this country are adamant that Ukraine must go on without end, but at the same time, when it comes to things like Israel and their war with Hamas, those same people become peace hawks.
It's inconceivable that in the past few months, the administration has been withholding weapons and ammunition to Israel. Israel, America's closest ally, fighting for its life, fighting against Iran and our other common enemies. Secretary Blinken assured me that the administration is working day and night to remove these bottlenecks. I certainly hope that's the case.
Well, why are they treating it differently? Why are they treating one way and the other one the other way? Well, it's very clear that they have a vested monetary interest in keeping Ukraine going forever. And it's very clear they have a political interest in this whole Israel-Hamas thing going away. It's dividing the Democrat Party. It's making Joe Biden look bad. They're worried about all these protests and counter-protests that are probably going to be coming at the convention this year. So it's all of it is simply for selfish reasons. None of the people doing anything, making decisions for this country, are doing so on behalf of the country. They do everything they do only on behalf of themselves.